Welcome back to the British Open and welcome back to Ultimate Pool. Karl O'Donoghue, the one and only wing. He is back with us on the Pro Tour. And he's kicking us off here on the TV table against Phil Harrison with a dry break, and he gives the table a bit of a glare for daring to defy him. Great split, good hit in all truth, but no friends. And it's going to bring Phil the Farmer to the table. This was the same match that Karl O'Donoghue played on his Ultimate Pool debut a few years ago, and Phil's decided he wants absolutely nothing to do with this frame. So back to the table comes Karl, and I just wonder, just looking at that, just lined up the cannon there on the yellow at the top of the table, whether he's going to take the bait that Phil's offered him. I think he might be tempted. Stephen Jameson, Tony Holgate with you on the comms for this one, and a pleasure to have your company as we head towards the end of the afternoon session here in Daventry.
Yes, great to have Karl O'Donoghue back in the fold, as it were. And you're right, he didn't need too much of an invite to pot a ball and just basically bump in and see what chances he got to win this frame now. Well, he wasn't expecting to miss that, I'm sure. So Harrison coming to the table on yellows.
Intrigued to see how Phil does this year. Started last season with a great run to the Pro Series final where he was beaten by John McAllister. And he sort of ended the year before as a Pro Series champion, but since then has just sort of gone through a bit of a dry spell, at least in terms of winning tournaments. But I don't think the level has suffered at all. He's still the same deadly player that he always has been.
Yeah, I think if you stop, when you get a bit older, if you stop for a good period and then try and come back, I think it will affect you then. I think the fact that Phil just keeps playing week in, week out, it doesn't give his body a chance to have a rest or his brain to sort of forget how to play the game at the top level.
So I wonder if Phil's seen enough and is happy enough to go here, or whether he's just setting up a potential loss of turn. I feel like we're about to find out. Really interesting first frame, this. I don't think it's the frame, I think it's safe to say that Karl O'Donoghue would particularly like. You feel almost with Phil Harrison, you're in his world here in a frame like this. And I think Phil will be perfectly happy to see Karl taking these on from his chair right now.
Got that a tad thin there. Did Karl. Not an awful lot of damage done though.
Yeah, yellows are a tough solve here.
This is very similar to the first frame in our last match between Sean Sharkey and Stevie Dempsey, where the first frame took 11.5 minutes, took over a third of the match clock, or match allotted time with it. Because it's a messy first frame, and this is going in a similar fashion.
Well, you'd definitely rather be yellows right now, not much you can say. Although Karl is at the table, so does have... Well, is he going here? Is he going the double? He is, you know. Well, is there a gap?
Well, he can get up to the top of the table and cut this red in next to the black. And he's going to come down and clatter into the 3 yellows that are guarding Karl's last red.
It's a massive shot.
Well, he's got them out, but can he pot it? I don't think he's going to be able to. He can see it.
Yeah, he knew he was trusting to luck there, and he has been, sadly for Karl, unlucky.
He's looking to see if he can come off the bottom rail and shunt that red into the left-hand cushion and back into the right-hand middle. That shot. There is also a shot where you could double the red, length of the table, and you see where those 2 yellows are at the top. There's a half a chance the red could go off those 2 yellows into that corner.
Oh, has he fluked it? No. So Phil Harrison's going to win the frame.
Yeah, there's all sorts of permutations there, but the one thing for sure is just as you said, J-Mo. We think Phil Harrison is going to win the frame now.
Yeah, I think Karl was almost forced into sort of chucking all his eggs in one basket. But I think the whole time he was at the table, Phil was probably quite happy for him to be there. Although I'm sure there was a little bit of an early moment when Karl was lining that up and made the red, and you're taking a look to see what's come out. A little unlucky to only have a kick shot to go at was big wing. Phil could move this yellow if he wanted to off the rail. I think he's going to. No, Lex deliberately chooses not to, and a little shake of the head tells you he's probably in perfect position. That's generally the rule of thumb when it comes to Phil Harrison. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely perfect position.
I first encountered Phil many years ago when he first came on the pro scene. I remember playing him, and I sat in my chair and he was shaking his head all the time. It got me to the stage where I sort of got out of my chair to see what sort of problems he had, and I looked, I thought, well, there's nothing wrong. And then you find out that that's just one of his little idiosyncrasies.
Yeah, he's a very, that's a great word to use actually, he's a very idiosyncratic player. He's got so many mannerisms around the table, and you know, from what I've been told by, you know, folks like yourself, Tony, you've been around the game as long as Phil has, you know, that's always been his way. It's not really changed. And yeah, he really does carry such a level of respect as Phil Harrison. I often describe him as your favourite pool player's favourite pool player.
Yeah, she's an all-round nice guy. I don't think anybody over all the years that I've played pool has ever had a bad word to say about Phil. Everybody's buddy.
Yeah, and I think even aside from his general sort of affability off the table, I think his game on it is just so well respected. He's never played another cue sport. He's just purely devoted himself to this version of the game, and you know, there's, you know, if Phil Harrison doesn't know something about this game, then it's probably not worth knowing.
No, you're exactly right. And another thing is, as a player, as an opponent, you never see him, you know, show much. When I say emotion, he always looks like quite pleasant when he's sat there. You know, you never see him fist pumping, you never see him bouncing up and down, and you never see him bad tempered either. As he throws his cue across the arena after that break.
Yeah, you might have been tempted. Going straight off in the middle pocket.
And Karl O'Donoghue now with a very good opening.
Yeah, first shot did the work there for Wing, and he should really be away from here. As you mentioned, he's had a year out of the Ultimate Pool circuit, returning here in 2025. But it's not like he stopped playing pool in that time. He was a busy bee, played some very, very high-profile money matches.
Yeah, I was looking with interest across the small part of the Irish Sea there when he was playing all and sundry at one point. I thought, why has he took a year out? He hasn't got time for the pro game because he's played so many big challenge matches. But it's great that he's returned to Ultimate Pool. One of the leading professionals, such a good player and a great player to watch as well. He's a classy performer.
Yeah, he's really, really good to watch, I agree. Just got himself into a little bit of bother here. These two don't connect up particularly nicely. Just got to mind his work.
I think he's okay.
Yeah, that'll do. That's all right.
Yeah, he had the pace there. He knew he was going to push those yellows away. And now, again, he'll just use the other yellows as a little buffer ball. And now a nice simple black, and this will level things up here in Daventry.
Yeah, a little bit more like it. Carl will be thinking. Frame over in a couple of minutes versus the quite lengthy opening gambit. It's been a busy boy since coming over to Daventry this weekend. Karl O'Donoghue, he's a big Aston Villa fan, and he actually went to Villa Park last night along with a little cohort of rowdy Irish friends. And it was his first dalliance with Villa Park. I know he enjoyed himself immensely. Night off last night for the pros as the women took centre stage, and about an hour down the road, isn't it, Villa Park? They enjoyed themselves as beloved villains got a win.
Yeah, I think it went with Sean Sharkey and co, who obviously were in the match just before us as well. So yeah, the little gang of Irishmen went there to watch the match. And late afternoon in the arena has been pretty much full of Irish players as well.
Well, that's the break he's looking for, goodness me. It's another solid hit on the cut break, but this time just so successful with balls made. And two just flying immediately into pockets. If you could rinse and repeat that break, you'd be very, very happy. Slightly tricky split though. Reds are a little tricky. The one just to the left of the keyboard at the moment is a pain. And there's more yellows on the table, and I think that's informed his thinking a touch. The yellow directly below the cue ball now it does have a pocket. You can play short position on it, but there's balls around it to work with as well. Oh, just gives it a little nudge, but that's gone wrong.
Yeah, that couldn't have got any worse. He stuffed up two yellows there together and not a plant anywhere.
Oh, what is it? Can he squeeze it? Is it doubling? No, just a safety. He's not left loads, but Phil will be so pleased to get back to the table here.
Yeah, he's played the right shot there, Carl. He had to free those two yellows, so if he does get an opportunity, it's going to be an open one. But it is Phil Harrison. More times than not, he doesn't leave opportunities for his opponents. You feel now that he probably won't get back to the table here, Carl. That'll be the Englishman. Getting himself back in front.
Gives himself a little bit of angle here, Phil, just to climb up to the top of the table. Doesn't really need to do too much here because he's got a red at the top right, which is a lovely little connector.
You just top it through and through that gap. Perfect. No, nothing much to do with the cue ball here. Just run this in. Just get the cue ball off the cushion, really, to play the red up in the top. He's got guaranteed position onto the black. And this is going to be 2-1 to Harrison.
I know the... We'll just let Phil make these two balls before we head off on another tangent. Tony's ears are pricked up.
Tangents.
As Phil goes 2-1 in front. But yeah, I know the content team have been busy this weekend doing loads of fun stuff with the Ultimate Pool Pros, and I think one of the things that they're working on is a little feature which is essentially build your own Ultimate Pool Pro. So you're looking for, you know, whose single ball potting would you take, whose bottle would you take, whose break would you take, whose patterns, etc, etc, etc. Now if you were making your own Ultimate Pool Pro, would Phil Harrison's patterns be your choice, Tony?
Oh,
they might be
call.
mine.
Ooh. You see, there's so many...
He's in the conversation, isn't he?
He's always in the conversation for every aspect of the pro game. You have to put him there, but I don't know. I don't know. Whose break would you take?
That's a good question. Last year I'd have answered you Jack Whelan. But it's tough. I'll have to have a good think about that.
Yeah, well, whatever player I put together, I'm having Declan Brennan's glove on it.
Sure, why not? Yeah.
Declan Brennan's glove and Brian Halcrow's shirt.
Okay.
That's a winning combination if you ever saw one.
Yeah, I'll take Brian Halcrow's voice while you're at it. There's soft Geordie tones.
And
I think
Cole Bedford's facial expressions.
You choose those, would you? I think for me, the one that I think Karl O'Donoghue would rank highest in, I think if you were sort of building your character, if you like, I think he's got a load of bottle. An absolute ton of it. And I think you'd be hard pushed to find someone with, as he might describe it, bigger cojones in the pro ranks.
And then you'll have somebody say, I'll take Tom Cousins' break, Tom Cousins' patterns. I mean, you'll have Tom Cousins then.
Yeah, you would. I dare say someone's probably answered that while they were being quizzed.
I think there's only one player where you'd have, if you had a category which was escapability, to get out of the impossible, I think you'd have to take Chris Melling.
Yeah, I think so. Second on that list would be Sean Storey for me. Not just in terms of single shots, but if ever I needed a comeback, he'd be high on my list. Carl's working hard here. He's working really hard as we're chatting away. He's got a shot. It's not nice, but he's got a shot. I think if this yellow had fallen in bottom left, he could have left this red till last maybe, but he's got to take it now, and hasn't he played that beautifully?
Lovely shot there from Karl O'Donoghue. And just look at the opening now.
Yeah, he's been rowing sort of against the current in this entire finish, but now, for the first time, you actually feel like he's fully in control. And the frame's at his mercy as these two go back and forth.
Yeah, when I looked at this match on the playlist today, I did look at it and think, ooh, that's going to be a tight game. Proving to be so, as he stays very, very still after the black.
Yeah, absolutely pumps it in, doesn't he? It's amazing what a different energy he exudes in the arena versus when he's outside of it. And you can see there Phil's just having a little word with him and a smile. And he almost has to get transported out of the zone that he's in. When he's got game face on Karl O'Donoghue, he goes from being a laugh a minute crack machine when he's sort of in the corridors of the hotel to, you know, someone you don't particularly want to mess with when he's in that arena.
No, he's very steely-eyed when he's in that sort of mood. So we're about level once again. It's now effectively a best of 5. Only 13 minutes 54 on the clock. So that could well come into play very shortly.
Karl O'Donoghue has played 3 matches and won 3 matches. He is already safely through. You would expect.
How'd you like that break?
Second one in a row. He's absolutely crunched. That one even better than his last, I think. Phil Harrison is also 2-0. Neither of these two has lost so far, and as the saying goes, someone's O has got to go. Carl's got a big frame difference of 10 to his advantage. 115, given away just 5 in his 3 matches. He's beaten Mason Penny, Malcolm Corrigan and Kevin Smith. It's a good shot at about the 8 ball. But for Phil Harrison, he's still got 2 matches to play in total. As he takes on Karl here, and he still has Mason Penny to round things out. And because Phil and Mason have to play each other last, I'm pretty sure. I'm just trying to imagine a scenario where Karl could go out here. He may well have to win to guarantee himself qualification, because there is a possibility for a 3-way tie on 6 points still. But his frame difference should speak for himself, especially if he keeps on rattling them off here against Phil Harrison. Goes 3-2 in front. Yeah, there's a scenario where Phil wins this match, goes to 6 points alongside Karl, and then Mason Penny beats Phil Harrison, and all 3 of them are sat on 6 points. But I think he'd be really struggling to overturn that frame difference. I think Karl's in a pretty strong position here. Especially given the way that he's playing. Oh, well, we're just waiting to get restarted in this match. Let's take a little look around the tables. Can see some high quality individuals operating at work there. Sean Ash, Aidan Hughes, Shane Thompson I can pick out. Big Rab Mack is out there too. Ready to get back underway in this one. Oh, Phil's found his break. Is he going to finish horrible? You can never judge his facial expressions. That grimace there maybe maybe a tad hasty. Although if he can't see this red to bottom right, he might be in bother. And to be fair, I think for once the facial expression is not lying. I think Phil's in trouble here. So Phil plays touching ball off the red to the bottom of the table. And just hopes he's going to get back to the table in this frame, but there's no guarantees for him.
Lovely pot there from Karl. Played it with conviction. Bumped that yellow out the way. The red, it's still awkward, that red above the yellow, but by nudging the yellow out the way, he now has room to be able to get there and be able to play in the bottom right hand corner. Maybe it goes now, or it's probably very tight. And I think if it did, he would have already been down there now to play it, so I'm going to say it can't squeeze past. So we're going to go into the middle with the red ball that's just adjacent to the black spot. He's going to try and screw the cue ball over to the left-hand side, left-hand rail, if he can get over there onto that bad red. Great shot.
It does so well.
I'd love a little bit more angle than that. Well, see, if he'd had a bit of angle, he could just roll that in and then play the red down the bottom. But
I think he's okay, Tony. I think he's pretty happy.
It's a tough shot, though, this.
Yeah, it was, but I think that was what he accepted he was having.
Yeah.
I don't think there was any surprises after that shot. I think he sort of knew that he was in trouble as soon as he was basically straight.
Yeah, but if he had that angle on that that third to last red, I mean, it was easy.
Yeah, it would have made such a difference.
Little shake of the head there from Karl.
Yeah, there'll be a little bit of frustration there at how that's turned out. Didn't miss that red by much, but Phil Harrison is going to tie things up here. You would expect. Oh, you would expect.
Oh,
that might be the worst shot I've ever seen Phil Harrison play.
I've got to agree with you. I've never seen Phil miss a ball like that, and I can't explain it.
That's staggering, really.
He had to just sort of took it for granted, tried to pinch a bit of pocket to nudge that yellow away from the rail. Well, there's no real need. But I thought he probably thought it was that easy. He didn't have to give it any consideration whatsoever. And that's just cost him.
No,
massive.
It's a huge swing in this frame. That is a mad, mad moment. Karl O'Donoghue goes on the hill. Phil Harrison is in bother here and not giving much away. But I mean, this is that's an extraordinary miss.
He wasn't even trying to move the one off the road. That's a cue snapping moment right there. If I was out there, I'm telling you,
I think it'd have been javelined.
Well, they're trying to put the arena back together. Unbelievable! Still can't believe it.
Yeah, that really is about as poor a shot as you can ever imagine.
I was trying to look to see if he sort of, you can do that if you pull your arm back and then start walking for your next shot before you played that shot. Then you can do it, but for somebody as seasoned as a professional as Phil Harrison to miss that yellow is quite incredible. So Karl O'Donoghue breaking now for the match.
Well, if we're on a Monday night, it'd already be over.
Yeah. He made another ball anyway, so he'll be will be staying at the table after the referee has re-spotted the black ball. And he will carry on just as normal. He's looking at the plant of the yellows there. Can he get to the yellow as well that's next to the black ball? I mean, does he have enough room to creep through the gap of that red? Can't see him playing any other colour than yellow as he comes around to play this red.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised, but he obviously must feel that he can... Is he going to play this red off the yellow to free up the pocket? And that's got to be the plan.
Yeah. I didn't see it. Normally do.
Yeah, I like the thinking. I really like the thinking.
However, just block the other red.
And he could take it now, but it's difficult because he's not guaranteed his position on his next ball, so he's got to take the one next to the 8 ball and come back for it, which again isn't ideal. This is still a very fiddly finish. The 8 ball definitely goes left centre. I say definitely, looks tight, but I'm pretty sure it does. I'm not sure it goes bottom right. Oh, he's short. Wanted to be on this red to the centre pocket or maybe up high, but he is short.
We're just going to have to play and try and kick it back in off the side rail.
Not even going to consider it.
Well, he's just given ball in hand.
Yeah, ball in hand's a surprise. I think he was probably trying to... I think that cue ball there, you take a look at it and you think, well, Phil's only got a tough shot. So I think he probably was just trying to shave the red. But even so, cue ball in hand is a huge advantage for Phil. And this is where you you see the great mind of Phil Harrison working. A situation like this is perfect to exhibit. All right, what would you do in this scenario? As we watch the master at work.
Does he just run this in and bump that red out the way? But dangerous if he shoves it too close and he's yellow down on the bottom rail. He's played that very well indeed.
That's just so well judged, isn't it? You got to be so confident in your knowledge of where everything's going with a shot like that. Of course Phil is. I mean, the knowledge of the physics of the cue ball and how cannons are, there's a few players you trust more with that sort of stuff. He's a little straight on this if you're being a bit picky, and Phil will be. He's about to go back in the game here. 15-second shot clock just beginning. Sort of 8 ball you should never miss, but he'll be a little bit annoyed he's on the cushion for it. Never in doubt. Alright, we've got a ball game, folks. 4-3, 4.5 minutes to play. Phil Harrison is back in the hunt. So Phil Harrison breaking. 4-3 down. 4.5 minutes, give or take, left. There might be whispers of a 6-red shootout here, especially if one of the frames gets bogged down. But I think with over 2 minutes a frame, essentially, and a 15-second shot clock, I think we've got time to complete the match here. Will it be 5-3? Will it be 5-4? Or will we go the distance with a 6-red shootout at 4 each? Phil's looking at reds, and he's going to play the plant next. I like the thinking. So well played. Probably goes in by itself, it was that well played.
Going to play another plant.
Oh, look at the little gap he's hit here, Tony. How perfect is that? Look at the way he's picked these apart. Just really clever. Economy of movement with the cue ball. He's picked such a good route here, Phil Harrison. Just has a little check of the clock. I think he's just decided, yeah, just knock these in and take your chances. Hope for a dry break, and if you do, you're going to have 2.5 minutes to win it. That's a fabulous finish from Phil Harrison. That's Phil Harrison doing what Phil Harrison does best. Brilliant finish. Made that look completely routine, and that could so easily have gone wrong.
I wonder if a little thought hasn't just crept into his head about that miss yellow now that cost him that frame, because he would have won the match already. But we're going to a 1-frame decider. It's Karl O'Donoghue who's going to break as he stares down this rack. Customary handshake, and off we jolly well go in this 1-frame sudden death with 2.5 minutes on the clock.
Oh, wouldn't you know it? His break has been so reliable in this match, and he's just had a dry break at the worst possible time. And look at this layout, it's nice.
Drier than the Sahara Desert there for Karl O'Donoghue, and this looks like the death knell could be sounding. Yellows are, nothing has to be broken out.
Yeah, I mean, he knew it. When he went to put his cube out, you could tell he knew what was left.
It's always the way though, isn't it? You get a really good split when you don't get anything. Phil there looking a bit annoyed that he's got himself close to that 8 ball. And peculiar, but it should be okay. He hasn't got to do anything with the white. Make the pot.
Mm-hmm. Wouldn't be a Phil finish without several shakes of the head, even if he's in flawless position, which he invariably is. Yeah, he's fine.
Yeah, he desperately wants to play that yellow that's over the top right-hand corner last. That's his connector to the black ball. So he's digging with a bit of side here. So this has got to be very delicately dropped in. Dead weight.
Yeah,
Tell you what, he's going to have to come cushion first here. Cushion before the yellow. We should force it in. I didn't like. Oh, cushion before the yellow. you naturally come round and you would head
it felt like a
towards them.
nicer shot. This is horrible now.
Yeah, because you naturally come into the centre of that rail and you would have had your hand fully on the table. Tough shot. This is for the match, though.
Oh, brilliant pot from Phil Harrison. Great out, and you can see what it means to him. He goes 3-0 in the British Open with one more match to play to go flawless. Karl O'Donoghue will be hoping that Phil does the business now. He has also won 3, but that's his match is finished now. He goes 3-1 in the group, and if Phil wins his last match, then Karl O'Donoghue is through in second place. Brilliant performance from Phil the Farmer Harrison. We'll get his thoughts in just a moment as we take one more look over a thriving, bubbling main arena here at the McCure Court Hotel in Daventry. The British Open is fully up and running here on our Super Saturday.